last week I saw Interpol live in concert twice last week, and I was really blown away by how much has changed over the last 20 years from the early 2000s when I first saw them in tiny venues and traveling to go see them in San Diego and following them over the years. When they first came onto the scene, they were part of that whole indie 2000s post-punk wave, and you can see that Paul at the time was really trying to find himself. Here he was suddenly at the height of this big movement, and he was part of a band. You can tell from the early beginnings, the way he looked, the way he came on, so he was a little bit shy, a little bit awkward. He wasn't quite fully embracing the whole rock star frontman kind of role yet. You can see that his hair is covering his face, like he's not fully ready to be seen, not really fully ready for people to see Paul Banks as the rock star, as the frontman of this amazing, really, not just, he wasn't ready for people to see Paul Banks, as in, he wasn't ready for people to see Paul Banks, the rock star of this band that was part of this huge wave in the 2000s. So you'll see that a lot of his clothes and the way he styles himself is very awkward, like in between post-college and on the cusp of trying to find himself as an adult. His hair is covering his face, and it's long and straggly, and he's nerdy. He's in that in-between stage where he's a college grad, but he's not quite sure adulthood and where that fits in for him, because he's at the cusp of rock star stardom in a way. And he's trying to figure out what that means for him stylistically, confidence, and poise-wise. That was like the beginning of the early 2000s. And as a band gets more and more recognition, they find their own rhythm, as they find their own place in this hype, and they start to form their own sound, they start to form their own persona, they start to have a bit of a niche. They are no longer lumped as another copycat of the Strokes and other bands during that scene. He starts to come out of his shell a little bit. He starts to find, as Interpol takes off and gains more recognition with fans and critics, that he's ready to branch out a bit. He starts to dive into other side projects. He dives into other side projects with other collaborators like RZA. His collaboration with RZA and doing that hip hop album was his way of branching out and not saying that, oh, I'm just the front man of Interpol and I'm shy and I'm awkward. I'm not trying to be another post-punk copycat like the Strokes. As he finds that Interpol has settled and that takes off, as that gains stability, he's ready to start branching out and exploring more of himself. And you can see that awkward, nerdy college grad starts to evolve a little bit. He's starting to see, oh, what else is out there for me? So he dives into, he's always liked hip hop. He's always liked hip hop music. So now he's diving into this collaboration with RZA. And this collaboration allows him to be a little bit more looser, a little bit more fun. As you go into Marauder, there's a big shift in the energy also with his collaboration with RZA. He's looser, he's more free, he's not feeling like he's hiding because he's established himself now. He's not like looking so preppy and skinny ties and tailored suits anymore. He's going a little bit gangster. He's always loved hip hop. So it's just fun to see him go from like tailored suits and nerdy, awkward hair covering his eyes to slicked back hair with the chain around his neck, which is very common for rappers and hip-hop artists. The chain is a symbolic piece of jewelry to showcase their status and to showcase the bling and to elevate their status with a little bit more swagger, a little bit more edge. Now that Paul has taken on other side projects, and then he's also moved into fatherhood. So part of it was COVID, part of it was moving to Berlin. He started to evolve, a new scenery, new era, new stage of your life, becoming a father. All those things change you. And he mentioned also that during COVID he took up boxing, and he started to really work on his health and physique because touring can be really hard on your body. Paul has developed a much bigger physique, more built physique. Having a really built physique also helps with his self-confidence because he's no longer awkward and skinny and shy. You can see in the way he performs live, he's confident and cool and not afraid. He's like the way he enters the stage, it's cool, calm. And so I thought it was really impressive to see how all those changes over the years, especially like in these last 6 years from COVID to now. Paul developed his confidence, his poise, and his persona as the lead frontman of Interpol and as a rock star, cementing his status as a rock star. And I think it was just amazing to see that live show twice last week, and seeing the way he came onto the stage and how like unafraid he was. He was just like, well, he walked onto the stage, and he was just, the way he walked on stage was just like, he just stepped on the stage, he waved and he smiled, and he just launched into every song of that set with ease and confidence. You can see that being a father in his late 40s now, he's fully stepped away from any sort of neurosis and ego that he had about himself and any self-doubt that he had in the beginning, hiding behind his hair, hiding behind looks that you can't really see, and embracing this like era of being in his late 40s and fatherhood and moving to Berlin, being in a less hectic pace of life, also helps to inspire this new hot dad or cool hot dad rock star persona that is Paul Banks of Interpol. By refreshing your style over each chapter and era of your life, you develop a lot more confidence, you develop more awareness about who you are and your work, and you're not afraid of stepping into the spotlight. You're not afraid to let your voice be heard. And so all those changes come not overnight, but a lot of consistent work, whether consistent work on yourself and your style, and continuing to look at who you are inside and seeing how who you are as you grow can evolve, how your style can also evolve at the same time, because the two go hand in hand throughout each chapter and stage of your life. You will find as you grow, as you change, as you step into different periods of your life, you'll find that your style needs to evolve, and you'll find that it's important for your style to feel current and your style to feel like it's you, and you don't feel like you're hiding behind something that was from 20 or 30 years ago or your past self. You're not trying to be someone you're not anymore.